You're listening to the Balanced Educator Podcast, episode number 142. Welcome to the Balanced Educator. We're your hosts, Kaylee
and Josiane from Educalm. Our intention is to equip and empower you to feel more calm, balanced, and joyful in all aspects of your life.
Hello there and welcome. We are so happy to have you here with us today. So, the biggest hurdle to starting mindfulness practice in your classroom is often the fear of that very first lesson. You wonder, how am I going to introduce this to my students so that they'll be on board and understand the benefits of this practice? So we've decided to completely remove this barrier for you by creating an Introduction to Mindfulness video lesson that you can show to your students to give them the pre-teaching they need to have a successful mindfulness routine, whether you're teaching in person or online. So with this lesson, you just have to press play. Keeps it nice and simple for you. In this episode, I'm going to explain why we included what we did in this lesson, how to use it in your classroom, specifically in your high school classroom, and how it fits together with our basic free and our complete Educalm mindfulness program. We're also including the audio version of the video right in this episode so that you get an idea of what's in store for you and your students when you play the video in class. We've created 2 introduction videos for you. So one is aimed more for younger grades. So that would be elementary school and possibly middle school, depending on the maturity of your group. So we talked about that video last week or in our last episode, number 141, if you want to go check that out. Now, in this episode, we're going to be talking about the video that we created for older grades. So that would be for middle to high school. So if you're not sure exactly which would be the right video for your students, if they're kind of in those middle years, take a look at both videos. They're only 5 minutes long. See which one you think is the best fit for your students and kind of their maturity levels or what you think is really going to capture their attention and interest. Both of these videos are up on the Educalm Classroom website. You can get them for free. Go to educalm.com/free if you haven't already signed up for our free trial, and you'll get these videos for free. If you are an Educalm Classroom subscriber, this is also available to you. So before we get into this episode, we're happy to share this week's sponsor. This year is our opportunity to equip our students and ourselves with the tools we all need to be resilient, to have a growth mindset, to have breathing strategies for stressful situations, and to spread kindness and compassion. The thing is, with so much on our plates this year, we need resources that are simple, ready to use, and save us time and energy. Luckily, Educalm Classroom checks off all those boxes. Educalm Classroom is the social-emotional learning program that gives you a ready-to-use mindfulness lesson for every day of the school year. All you have to do is press play and enjoy 5 minutes of calm with your K-12 students, in English or en français. Once you've listened to the daily audio, you and your students will both feel ready for a productive school day. Think you don't have time to invest in social-emotional learning? Think again. Teachers that use Educalm Classroom report that they gain instruction and prep time back. Brandy, a grade 2 teacher, told us, "We invest in this time and got it back tenfold." Emily told us, "My students are better able to focus and learn in the mornings after our practice, which means less classroom management for me." Whether you're back in the classroom with your students this year or doing remote teaching, Educalm Classroom is the resource that you can depend on to help your students feel calm, focused, and ready to learn. Sign up for Educalm Classroom now by going to www.educalm.com. Plus, we want to help you feel completely confident using Educalm Classroom to support mental health and well-being this year. So, when you sign up for Educalm Classroom before October 31st, 2021, we'll send you our Educalm Classroom Level 1 online training, a $99 value, for free. You can watch this training video from the comfort of your own home or classroom and feel totally confident using Educalm Classroom with your students. What are you waiting for? Make this the year you prioritize student well-being as the foundation for calm and focused learning. Sign up for your Educalm Classroom membership today at www.educalm.com. That's spelled EDUCALME All right, now let's get into this introduction lesson for high school students. I'm so excited to share this with you because I just finished teaching my first week back to school with my students. It was a short week. I only saw each class twice, but I, of course, tested out this introduction to mindfulness video with them, and it went really well. So I'm so excited to share it with you. So normally when I teach mindfulness, I introduce it for the first time with kind of a little lesson that I just do kind of off the cuff. I talk about with my students, like, what is mindfulness? Why is it helpful in your life? How is it going to help you specifically as a student? Why it's important? How it's going to help you to be successful both in school and in your extracurricular activities and in your future. And then I talk about expectations. So when we're doing this mindfulness practice, what do I expect from you as the students? I talk about the importance of just sitting quietly and listening. I really put emphasis on how this is just a great time for you to relax. Oftentimes, life is really busy and we don't really have 5 minutes to just do nothing. So this is your chance to just do nothing. So my expectations are that you put away any distractions. So phones are put away, laptops are closed. There's nothing on your desk that's going to be, kind of distracting you. It's not a time to eat your breakfast or eat a snack. You can do that afterwards, but during the mindfulness practice, we're just quiet, no distractions, sitting at our spots. You can have your head up, you can have your head down with your eyes closed. I give them a couple options. I even say to some groups, if we have the space, you can even lie down on the floor if you want. And then I get into a mindfulness practice with them. Usually I guide it myself. Now, we really wanted to make sure that this intro lesson would be easy for any teacher to do, whether they know a lot about mindfulness, have a lot of experience, or none at all. So what we did with this introduction to mindfulness video that we created for you is we included all the things that I normally include in my introduction to mindfulness lesson with my own students. Now, the beauty of having this video is that it helps to make sure that this introduction is short and sweet. So sometimes when I'm introducing this to my class, because I get so passionate about it, I can sometimes ramble a little bit and talk a little bit too long. Of course, those first few days of class, there's so many things to cover, routines, expectations for all sorts of things. So if I ramble too much, then I'm cutting off time for other things. So having this video makes it short and sweet, with these great visuals that help to demonstrate, to show what we're explaining in the video. So it even explains in the video kind of what to expect moving forward if you continue listening to the Educalm classroom audios with your students. So that's everything that's included in the lesson in 5 short and sweet minutes in English and of course en français as well. And I'm happy to say that lesson went very well with my classes. I teach grade 10 and grade 12 this year. And what I'm finding really cool is that as conversations about mental health become more mainstream, students are just more and more ready to dive into this practice. They understand that caring for your mental health is important already to a certain degree. I definitely put more emphasis on it as a teacher when I'm kind of introducing the daily lesson. I like to say, all right, let's get our mind and body ready for calm and focused learning. Let's start our Educalm audio. Really, that's kind of my intro every day before I press play on the audios, just a short little reminder of what's the point of this? Let's help our mind and body get ready for the day. Let's promote positive mental health by doing a little brain exercise today. So students have been more and more just Like I felt like in the past, I used to have to explain mindfulness a lot more, and I felt like I had to kind of convince them why it was important a lot more. Whereas I'm finding in the last 2 years, with COVID, there's just more and more discussions about the importance of mental health, why it's important to incorporate it in education. And so it just feels like a really natural, seamless thing to do in my classroom. And I don't have any students that are like, I don't get why we're doing this. What's the point? They all just jump right in and go. So I started this year with this introduction to mindfulness video, and then we started using the audios from the introduction to mindfulness unit in Educalm Classroom, which you can get all of these things as part of the free trial. Or it's just the introduction, the first unit that you would do with your students if you purchase a full membership to Educalm, which will then give you audios for the entire school year. So how does this video integrate to the free trial or to the full program? If you have the full program, it's just the first lesson that you do. So we also have in the Educalm Classroom program a lesson plan that you can do with your students, and it was our Sparkle Jar lesson plan. So this is a lesson plan that has been really popular with teachers that have done it. It's really great. It's a PDF lesson plan that you read through. Essentially, it kind of almost gives you a script to follow if you want to introduce mindfulness in that way. And you can absolutely still use that. So if you've done that in the past, you can use that in conjunction with the introduction to mindfulness lesson. I would suggest doing it on 2 different days. So you're kind of explaining mindfulness in a different way. That being said, with my students this year, I found that just doing the video lesson felt like it was totally enough to get them on board. We had a really great discussion after watching the video, just about what did they notice during that practice. And because it was the first day of school, I did it with this on the very first day of school. We talked a lot about kind of that first day jitters, and a lot of students were saying, I felt kind of anxious before, and now I'm feeling way more calm. That was great. I really feel good now. I feel more calm now. I feel more like present now. So it was really nice to see that after just that first video, that first short little mindfulness practice, students were already seeing benefits. And so moving into our Educalm classroom routine every day at the beginning of class, I say the announcements. We do, I kind of show them what our list of things to do is that day. And then we get into the Educalm classroom practice. So I press play on the audios. I always start by saying, all right, everyone put your phones away. We're about to start our Educalm classroom practice. We're going to get our brains and bodies ready for calm and focused learning. And then I kind of just look around, make sure everyone's put their things away. Then I press play. I listen with them. So, I sit in a comfortable position. I model what it should look like. I kind of keep my eye out to make sure that students are participating. That being said, most of the time after the first couple weeks, I don't really pay attention to what the students are doing all of that much. They really get into the routine of it. And I feel that I can totally do the practice for myself and gain that calm moment for myself before getting into instruction and teaching and activities for that day. So these practices are so easy to integrate into just your regular routine as a high school teacher. I find that I gain back a lot of time in our class time because students really are more focused and ready to learn. They're gaining a lot of strategies throughout the semester as well that help them to be better learners. So the 5 minutes that I take to listen to the audios is totally worth it. Now, this is kind of how I save time as a high school teacher that only has my students for 75 minutes per day. I then integrate the discussion of what we noticed during our practice just into attendance. So after we listen to the Educalm audio, I, do attendance and I just ask, hey, so-and-so, what did you notice during your practice today? And I always start myself saying like what I noticed so I can model what that means. And I also like to say, remember that mindfulness is about paying attention to the present moment on purpose. So there's no right or wrong experience to have. We're just here trying to observe our experience non-judgmentally. So there's no right or wrong thing. So then students will explain what they noticed during that day. Or I also give them the option of saying, if you didn't notice anything, just say you didn't notice anything. So if they don't want to share, or they just don't feel like they have much to share, they can just say, I didn't notice anything. And then we move on to the next person. So that gives me a chance to do a check-in with each student at the beginning of class. This discussion probably takes under 5 minutes. But it really is an amazing way to create a connection with my students. In a high school class, it can often be difficult to really get to know your students, I find, because it can be hard to have that one-on-one time. So just this quick check-in every day really helps me to build a relationship and a connection with them over time. So that's kind of how it all works. So after showing specifically this introduction to mindfulness video, then I, for the very first time, asked my students, what did you notice? And we talked about that, and that was it. That was their first kind of example of what this mindfulness routine would look like. And it really set the stage for having success with our audios moving forward. So I've had a couple days with them since that initial introduction to mindfulness video. And it's been going really great so far. So very excited, very happy, and I hope that you try it out too. Nice and simple. Everything is ready made for you. So another couple of ideas just to throw at you if you want to have a deeper discussion with your students after that first video. So you could talk about, have there ever been situations where you felt worried, anxious, or excited? And what did you do in those circumstances? So this could be something that you do kind of a one-on-one sharing type of opportunity, or it could be discussions in small groups, just to get your students talking about, when have they felt big emotions in the past? And then what did they do in the past when they were feeling those big emotions, and kind of getting them to think about, like, was that useful? Did things pan out how I wanted them to? Was this a reaction that I feel good about? So you can ask, and were you happy with how you responded during that big emotion? And then that can lead into a discussion of how could learning strategies for managing your emotions help you in the future. So this can really become like a really great discussion between students and all together as a class, and really start to create a culture in your classroom where talking about emotions is okay, that students don't have to feel uncomfortable sharing their emotions, because this is a safe space where we talk about all emotions non-judgmentally. It's totally normal to feel all those range of emotions. We're humans. That is how our body is built. And also, the beautiful thing is that while we're learning mindfulness, we learn strategies to manage those waves of emotions when they come. And we aren't always going to be perfect, but having those strategies can really help create better outcomes for how we manage those emotions and how we act in those kind of heated moments. So talking about this with your students and talking about, how could this help you can really help them with the buy-in of why we would be doing this mindfulness practice every day. Now, another question that you can ask following this introduction to mindfulness video, during the video, they'll have practiced their first breathing strategy. So you can just ask, how did you feel after the breathing exercise? Did you notice a difference in how your body was feeling or not? Again, there's no right or wrong answer. Here, we just want to kind of observe our experience non-judgmentally with kindness and compassion, and just creating that stage for making it good to talk about emotions in your class, in your space. So now that I've talked about how I use this in my classroom, I'm going to share the audio for this video so that you can get an idea of what is in this video. But I definitely encourage you to check out the actual video. Take a look at it. It's only 5 minutes long, won't take up too much of your prep time, and it won't take up too much of your class time. It'll fit in there seamlessly and will definitely help you to have a positive start to the school year with your students. That being said, if you don't start this this right at the beginning of the year, that's totally fine. You can bring it in whenever it feels right for you. A little bit is better than nothing. Starting late is better than not starting at all. Or, if you just feel like, I like the idea of this, but I'm not ready to do it this semester or this year, that's fine too. Start when you feel ready. There's no pressure here. That being said, we've created our resources to make it very low pressure on you. You just have to press play. Everything's created for you. Everything in our program builds on itself over time to create these skills over time. So there's very little thinking and planning for you. You just choose the theme and unit that you want to focus on for that month and press play on the audio, creating that routine in your classroom of starting the class mindfully with this calm moment to get your brain and body ready for calm and focused learning is really going to set the stage for lots of success in your classroom. All right. So, if you aren't sure where to find this video, go to educalm.com. So I'll walk you through it. You're going to go to educalm.com. If you haven't already signed up for the free trial, sign up for the free trial. This is going to create an account for you on our website. So when you log into our website, you go to your member area. And then this introduction to mindfulness video lesson is in the Start Here theme. So Start Here theme is, of course, where you want to start. You'll see inside the Start Here theme that there is 2 tabs. There's blue tabs at the top of the page. On the left tab, it's all information for you as the teacher, any info you might need, training you might need to get started. So we have a great professional development training video in there if you want to get an idea of, or an expanded explanation of how to use the Educalm classroom program in your classroom. That's there for you. Now on the right tab, that is the Introduction to Mindfulness unit for you to use with your students. So you'll see on that tab that there are 10 audios. There's 2-minute audios and 5-minute audios to choose from. And then below that, there's some little drop-down menus, and in there's one called videos, and that is where you will find the videos. So there's 2 videos there. There's Introduction to Mindfulness for younger grades, Introduction to Mindfulness for older grades. Really, both of them could be used for any age, but the younger grades kind of focuses more on how this is going to be useful at kind of that younger stage of development, whereas the older grades is kind of focusing more on that older development. So that is where you find those videos. And as I said, it is free as part of the free trial. All right, so I'm going to play the audio for you right away. Enjoy it. I hope that you can take advantage of our free resources. Have a wonderful week. Welcome to Educalm. We teach students and their teachers mindful strategies for managing emotions so that everyone can navigate life's ups and downs with more ease. In this video, we're going to teach you what mindfulness is and how it can help you in your everyday life. Let's get started. Have you ever felt worried, stressed, or anxious? When you're worried, stressed, or anxious, you might notice that your stomach feels tight, that it's hard to sit still, and that you keep thinking the same worried thoughts over and over. Have you ever felt angry? When you're angry, you might feel your hands clenched into fists. You might feel hot, and you might say or do things that you wouldn't do if you were feeling calm. Have you ever felt sad? When you're sad, you might feel like there's a weight on your shoulders. You might lack energy and feel unmotivated. Have you ever felt excited? When you're feeling excited, you might feel full of energy. It might be hard to sit still, and you might keep thinking about the same excited thoughts over and over. These are all examples of emotions. Emotions are important because they help our brain communicate to our body how it should act in certain situations. Emotions are useful, but sometimes our emotions can feel overwhelming and make it hard for us to focus on what we want to accomplish. Luckily, there's an exercise we can do to learn how to notice our emotions and use strategies to manage them. It's called mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches us to pay attention to the present moment on purpose without judgment. When we practice mindfulness, our brain gets better at focusing on the present moment. We practice breathing exercises that help to reduce stress and anxiety, and we get to enjoy a few minutes of calm during our often busy day. In our normal lives, we rarely ask our brain to pay attention to one thing at a time. So this practice might feel relaxing, it might feel boring, it might even feel a bit frustrating at times. That's okay. Over time, and with practice, you'll start to notice the long-term benefits to your mental and physical health and well-being. Mindfulness is simple. You just have to sit in a comfortable position and remove all distractions. So put phones or other devices, books, or anything else that might distract you away, and listen to my voice as I guide you through a calming exercise. Let's try our first mindfulness exercise right now. Sit in a comfortable position. We're going to take 5 deep breaths together and focus on how breathing feels. Try to notice details about breathing that you've never noticed before. Take a deep inhale through your nose and notice how it feels to inhale. Now, take a full exhale out of your nose and notice how it feels to exhale. Inhale, feel your lungs filling. Exhale, feel your lungs emptying. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Notice how your body feels now that you've taken those 5 deep breaths. Maybe you notice a change, maybe not. That's okay. Just notice whatever you notice. Congratulations! You've just completed your first mindful breathing exercise. A few minutes a day relaxing calmly and quietly with Educalm will allow you to breathe, rest, and reset. You'll also learn how to manage your emotions in simple and healthy ways. If you don't think mindfulness is really for you or you don't feel comfortable following along, that's okay. Just relax quietly until the Educalm practice is over, and you'll still benefit from this moment of calm. We look forward to supporting your mental and physical health and well-being, one Educalm practice at a time.